A 160-pound Cane Corso spent the first 3 years of his life in a fighting ring. His ears were cut with scissors. His body was covered in scars. And the day animal control pulled him out of a basement in East Baltimore, he was so terrified of humans that he bit the first hand that reached for him. 11 months in a shelter, 0 adoption offers, 72 hours from being euthanized. Then, one woman walked in, looked past every scar, and said 5 words that changed everything. "He's coming home with me." Not every dog that comes out of a fighting ring is broken beyond repair. Some of them are just waiting for the one person brave enough to prove it. Titan was a 160-pound jet black Cane Corso with cropped ears, a chest like a barrel, and scars that told a story no one wanted to hear. He had spent the first 3 years of his life in a basement in East Baltimore, where he was bred, beaten, and forced into a ring with other dogs for money. His ears had been cut with household scissors. His muzzle had healed fractures from a catch pole used to drag him between fights. By the time animal control raided the property and pulled him out, Titan had never known a kind hand, a soft voice, or a single day without pain. The shelter called him a liability. His intake file read, "Male Cane Corso, approximately 3 years old, 160 pounds, history of dogfighting, bite history during intake, not recommended for adoption." They put him in an isolation kennel at the back of the facility, Kennel 22. No enrichment, no walks, no human contact beyond feeding. For 11 months, Titan sat in that kennel. He didn't bark, he didn't pace. He pressed his massive body into the corner and growled at anyone who opened the door. The staff slid his food bowl under the gate so they wouldn't have to go inside. 3 behavioral assessments, 3 failures. The shelter director signed the euthanasia order on a Monday. Titan had 72 hours. Here is what most people don't understand about dogs that come from fighting operations. They weren't born aggressive, they were manufactured. Every scar on Titan's body was put there by a human. Every flinch, every growl, every snap was a learned response to a world that had only ever hurt him. Fighting dogs don't trust because trust was the first thing taken from them. Wednesday afternoon, one day before Titan's scheduled date, a woman named Danielle Carter walked into the shelter. She was 31, a trauma nurse at Johns Hopkins who had spent the last 8 years working with patients other people had given up on. She wasn't there to adopt. She was dropping off supplies from a hospital charity drive. But as she walked past the back row, she heard something that stopped her. Not a bark, not a growl. A sound she described later as the saddest exhale she had ever heard. She looked through the kennel window and saw Titan, a massive black dog facing the wall, ribs still showing through his coat, scars visible even from 6 feet away. "What's his story?" she asked. The volunteer told her everything: the fighting ring, the bite history, the euthanasia gate. "When?" Danielle asked. "Tomorrow morning." Danielle stood at that window for a long time. She later told a reporter that she saw something in Titan's eyes that she recognized from her patients. Not aggression, exhaustion, the look of someone who had stopped fighting because they had nothing left to fight for. "I want to foster him," she said. The shelter director tried to talk her out of it. So did the behavioral team. So did her mother, her sister, and every friend she called that night. But Danielle had spent her career walking into rooms that scared other people. This wasn't different. I see you're still here but haven't subscribed yet. That honestly breaks my heart a little. We pour everything into these stories. Hit that subscribe button. You'll want to see what happens next. The first 2 weeks were the hardest of Danielle's life. Titan wouldn't leave the corner of her spare bedroom. He growled every time she entered. He refused to eat if she was in the room. At night, he paced the hallway, his nails clicking on the hardwood like a clock counting down something only he understood. Danielle slept on the floor outside his door every night so he could hear her breathing. She never once tried to open it. On day 6, she placed a bowl of chicken just inside the doorway and sat 4 feet away with her back turned. 40 minutes later, she heard him eat. On day 10, she felt something warm press against her ankle while she was reading. She looked down. Titan had moved close enough to touch her. His whole body was shaking, but he didn't pull away. It was the first time he had chosen to be near a human in over a year. She didn't move. She didn't reach. She just whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Stories like these are exactly why we do what we do. If this made you feel something, you're not alone. On day 19, it happened. Danielle was sitting on the couch after a 12-hour shift, eyes closed, too exhausted to move. She felt the cushions sink beside her. She opened her eyes. Titan was climbing onto the couch, 160 pounds of scarred muscle and wrinkled skin, trembling violently, pressing his massive head into her lap. His eyes were closed, his ears were flat, but he stayed. She put her hands on him for the first time. He flinched. Then he leaned in. And for the next 2 hours, Danielle held a dog that the world had only ever hurt. And he let her. He let her hold every scar, every memory he carried. And he didn't pull away. The foster paperwork became adoption paperwork the next morning. Months passed. The dog who growled at every human now followed Danielle from room to room like her shadow. The dog who couldn't be touched now pushed his head under her hand every evening, asking to be held. The dog who had been raised to fight now slept with his face buried in her neck every single night. 160 pounds of warmth pressed against her, like he was afraid she might disappear. Today, Titan is 5 years old. He still flinches when strangers move too fast. He probably always will. But every morning, he greets Danielle at the bedroom door with his tail going and his whole body wiggling like a puppy seeing the sun for the first time. Every evening, he climbs onto that same couch, puts his head in her lap, and closes his eyes like the world finally makes sense. The shelter that almost put him down now uses his photo on their website. The caption reads, "Every dog deserves one person who refuses to give up." Because Titan wasn't born a fighter, he was made into one, and it took one woman who knew exactly what survival looked like to show him he didn't have to fight anymore. Would you have walked into that kennel, or would you have kept walking? Tell me in the comments.